Julia, can I ask you something?
Of course.
Why do so many people study English for months, sometimes even for years, but still feel completely lost?
Oh, that is a very good question. And honestly, the answer may surprise you. Most learners are not failing because English is too difficult. They are failing because they do not have a clear plan.
So the problem is not always the learner.
Exactly. Many learners work very hard. They watch videos, they download apps, they buy books, they memorize long vocabulary lists, they study grammar rules, but every day they do something different.
That sounds productive.
It looks productive, but there is a big difference between being busy and making progress.
Wait, can you explain that?
Sure. Imagine you want to travel to a new city. You get into your car, but you do not know the address. You do not have a map, and you do not use directions. You may drive for 5 hours, but that does not mean you're getting closer.
You may actually be going in the wrong direction.
Exactly. And that is what happens to many English learners. They study for hours, but they do not know what they should study first or what they should do next.
I think many people listening can relate to that. On Monday, they study grammar. On Tuesday, they watch a pronunciation video. On Wednesday, they download a new application.
And on Thursday, they start a completely different study plan.
Then by Friday, they feel tired and confused.
And they ask themselves, why am I not improving? But the real problem is not their intelligence, it's not their memory, and it's not their age. The real problem is that their learning has no direction.
So learning English without a roadmap is like traveling without knowing the destination.
That is exactly right. A roadmap tells you three important things: where you are now, where you want to go, and what your next step should be.
That already sounds less stressful because you don't need to learn everything today.
You should not try to learn everything today. That is one of the fastest ways to feel overwhelmed. You don't need every grammar rule, you don't need 10,000 words, and you don't need a perfect accent before you start speaking.
So what do you need?
You need the right step.
At the right time. That is the secret. I like that. Not every step at the same time, just the right next step.
Exactly. Think about climbing a staircase. You do not jump from the first step to the top. You move one step at a time, but every step takes you higher. English works the same way.
And I think another problem is comparison. People see someone speaking English fluently online, and suddenly they feel bad about their own level.
Yes, they compare their first month to someone else's 10th year. That is never fair. You do not know how long that person practiced, how many mistakes they made, or how many times they wanted to quit.
So instead of asking, why am I not like them? We should ask, what is my next step?
Perfect. That question can change everything, because once you know your next step, English stops feeling like one huge impossible subject. It becomes a series of small, clear actions.
Listen for a few minutes. Learn useful words. Read something simple. Speak a little, then repeat tomorrow.
Exactly. Simple does not mean weak. A simple plan that you follow is much stronger than a perfect plan that you never use.
That sentence is important. Say it one more time.
A simple plan that you follow is much stronger than a perfect plan that you never use.
I think our listeners should remember that because today we are not going to give them random tips.
No, we are going to build a complete English learning roadmap, step by step, from knowing your current level to building the four main skills: learning vocabulary and grammar correctly, improving listening and speaking, and creating a clear 90-day plan.
So by the end of this episode, the listener should know exactly what to do next.
That is the goal. No confusion, no random studying, no jumping between 20 different methods, just one clear path forward.
Then we need to begin with the most important question.
Where are you right now?
Exactly, because before you choose the road, you need to know your starting point.
And that's what we're going to discover next.
Okay, let us imagine someone is listening right now and thinking, I want to improve my English. What should they do first?
Before they choose a book, before they download another app, before they start a new course, They need to know their current level,
Why is that so important?
because the wrong material can make learning much harder. If the lesson is too easy, you get bored. If it is too difficult, you feel frustrated.
And then you think your English is terrible.
Exactly. But maybe your English is not terrible. Maybe the material is simply wrong for your level.
That happens a lot. Some beginners try to watch fast movies without subtitles.
Then they understand 5 words and spend the next 2 hours feeling disappointed.
Or they choose an advanced grammar book because it looks professional.
And after 3 pages, they close it forever.
So how can someone understand their level?
Start with what you can actually do, not how many grammar rules you know, not how many words you memorized. Ask yourself simple questions. Can you introduce yourself? Can you describe your day? Can you understand a slow conversation? Can you ask for help? Can you explain a simple idea?
So the level is about communication.
Yes, it is about what you can understand and what you can express. Let us make it simple. A beginner may know basic words and short sentences. For example, my name is Sarah. I live in Dubai. I like coffee.
Simple, but useful.
Exactly. At the A1 level, you can usually talk about yourself, your family, your home, your job, and basic daily activities.
But you may need people to speak slowly.
Yes, and you may need time to answer. That is completely normal.
What about A2?
At A2, you can do more. You can describe your routine, talk about past activities, explain simple plans, order food, ask for directions, and understand common daily conversations.
So an A2 learner may say, yesterday I went shopping with my sister.
Exactly. Or, I'm going to visit my friend this weekend. The sentences are still simple, but the learner can communicate in more situations.
And B1?
B1 is where English starts to feel more independent. You can talk about experiences, give simple opinions, explain problems, tell stories, and understand the main idea of many conversations.
So a B1 learner may not speak perfectly, but they can keep the conversation moving.
That is a great way to describe it. They may make mistakes, they may forget words, but they can usually find another way to explain the idea.
That sounds like a very important skill.
It is. Fluency is not knowing every word. Fluency is continuing even when you do not know every word.
That takes pressure away because many learners think if I forget one word, the conversation is over.
Not at all. Imagine you forget the word umbrella. You can say the thing you use when it rains.
That is still communication.
Exactly. And real communication is more important than perfect vocabulary.
But what if someone is not sure whether they are A1, A2, or B1?
They do not need to panic. These levels are guides. They are not labels that control your future. You can be stronger in one skill and weaker in another.
For example, someone may understand B1 listening, but only speak at A2.
Exactly. Another learner may read very well but feel nervous in conversations. That is very common. Your English level is not always one simple number.
So we should look at each skill separately.
Yes. Ask yourself, how much can I understand? How much can I say? How much can I read? And how much can I write? Be honest, but do not be negative.
There's a difference between honesty and self-criticism.
A big difference. Do not say, my English is bad. Say, my listening is improving, but my speaking needs more practice.
That sounds much more useful because now you know what to work on.
Exactly. A clear problem gives you a clear next step. A negative sentence gives you nothing.
So instead of saying, I cannot speak English, say, I need more speaking practice.
Perfect. Instead of saying, I understand nothing, say, I need slower listening material.
And instead of saying, I always forget words, say, I need a better review system.
Now you're thinking like a successful learner.
I like this. Your level is not something to be ashamed of. It's your starting point.
Exactly. A map is only useful when you know where you are. Once you know your starting point, you can choose the right material, the right speed, and the right goals.
Can we give the listeners a quick challenge?
Absolutely.
Think about your English right now. What can you do comfortably, and what still feels difficult?
Maybe listening feels easy, but speaking feels slow. Maybe reading feels comfortable, but writing feels confusing. Choose one strength and one skill you want to improve.
Not 10 problems, just one priority.
Exactly, because when you try to fix everything at the same time, you usually improve nothing.
That connects perfectly to our next part.
Yes, now that you know your starting point, you need to understand the four main English skills.
Listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
But here's the surprising part. You should not always give them equal time.
Really?
Not always. And in the next part, we'll show you how to train all four skills without making your study plan exhausting.
Now that you know your level, what should you build next?
The four main English skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
Exactly. But many learners make one big mistake. They focus on only one skill. Some only watch videos, others only study grammar, and some only memorize vocabulary.
Then they wonder why they still cannot speak naturally.
Right. Think of the four skills as four wheels on one car. If one wheel is weak, the journey becomes harder.
But do we need to give every skill the same amount of time?
Not always. Your goals should control your plan. If you want to study at a university in the UK, Canada, or the United States, you may need more reading and writing. If you work in Riyadh, Jeddah, or Dubai, listening and speaking may be more important for meetings and daily communication.
And someone preparing for IELTS needs a different plan from someone preparing for STEP.
Exactly. That is why random learning wastes so much time. A good roadmap connects every lesson to your real goal.
This is also why a structured English course can make a huge difference. Instead of choosing random lessons every day, you follow a clear path designed around your level and your goal.
Yes, a good teacher or learning program helps you balance the four skills, notice your weak areas, and know what to practice next.
So begin by asking yourself one question. Why do I need English? For work in Saudi Arabia or the Gulf? For university in Europe or America? For travel? Or for an international exam?
Once you know the answer, you can choose the right balance.
And in the next part, we will turn that balance into a simple daily routine you can follow, even if your day is already busy.
Now, let us make this practical. What should you actually study every day?
And please do not say 3 hours. Most people do not have 3 free hours.
Good news. You do not need 3 hours. You need a simple routine that you can repeat.
So what does that look like?
Start with 20 to 40 minutes. For example, 10 minutes of listening, 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of speaking, and 5 minutes reviewing useful vocabulary.
That already sounds realistic.
Exactly. A strong routine should fit your life. Maybe you listen to an English podcast while driving to work in Riyadh. Maybe you read a short article during lunch. Maybe you practice speaking before bed.
Or record yourself talking about your day. Even 2 minutes can help.
Yes, the secret is not studying for a long time. The secret is doing the right activities consistently.
And this is where many learners need support. They know they should study, but they do not know which lesson, vocabulary, or skill to choose each day.
That is why a clear course plan can be so useful. It saves time, it gives you daily direction, and it keeps your learning balanced.
Especially if your goal is work in Saudi Arabia or Dubai, university in Europe, Canada, or the United States, or preparation for IELTS, STEP, or another exam.
Exactly. Your daily plan should serve your goal, not copy someone else's routine.
So keep it simple. Choose a short routine,
Follow it every day and make sure every activity has a purpose.
Because 30 focused minutes can be much more powerful than 2 random hours.
We are going to fix one of the most common problems in English learning: why learners memorize hundreds of words but still cannot use them in a real conversation.
Part 5. How to learn vocabulary the right way. Let me ask you something. How many English words do you think you've forgotten?
Honestly, probably hundreds, maybe even thousands.
And you're not alone. Many learners memorize long vocabulary lists, but a week later, most of those words are gone.
So the problem isn't memory?
Not usually. The problem is the learning method. Never learn a word by itself. Learn it inside a sentence. For example, don't just learn the word book. Learn, I'm reading a very interesting book. Now you know the word and how to use it.
That feels much more natural.
Exactly. Also, choose useful words. If you live in Saudi Arabia, maybe learn words you use at work, at a cafe, or while shopping. If you're preparing for IELTS, focus on academic vocabulary. If your dream is to study in Canada or the UK, learn words you'll actually hear every day.
So don't learn difficult words just because they sound impressive.
Right. Learn useful words first, then repeat them. Use them in speaking. Write them in your own sentences. The more you use a word, the longer you'll remember it.
And I think another mistake is trying to learn 50 new words every day.
Absolutely. 5 words you actually use are much better than 50 words you forget tomorrow.
That makes learning feel much less stressful.
Exactly. A good English course doesn't only teach vocabulary, it teaches you when, where, and how to use each word naturally. That is what builds real confidence.
So from today, stop collecting words. Start using them. Because words become part of your English only when they become part of your life.
Let's talk about something that scares almost every English learner: grammar.
Grammar. Just hearing this word makes some learners nervous.
Because many people think grammar is everything.
Or nothing. The truth is, it's somewhere in the middle. Grammar is important, but grammar alone will never make you fluent.
So should we study grammar every day?
Yes, but in small amounts. Learn one rule, understand it, then use it immediately. Don't study 10 grammar rules in one day. Study one and make it part of your English.
Can you give us an example?
Of course. Imagine you're learning the present perfect. Don't stop after reading the rule. Say, I have lived in Riyadh for 3 years, or I have never visited London. Now grammar becomes communication.
I like that. You're not studying grammar, you're using grammar.
Exactly. That is a huge difference. Many learners spend hours solving grammar exercises, but they never use those structures while speaking.
Which explains why they know the rule but freeze during a conversation.
Right. Grammar should support your speaking, not replace it. And if your goal is STEP, IELTS, university in Europe, or working in an international company, good grammar definitely matters, but it should always be connected to listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
That is another advantage of learning through a structured program. Every grammar lesson is connected to real conversations, not just exercises on paper.
Exactly. The goal is not to become a grammar expert. The goal is to communicate clearly and confidently.
So remember this: learn less grammar, use it more, because grammar becomes useful only when it becomes part of the way you speak.
And now, let's move to the skill that changes everything: listening and speaking.
If I had to choose only one skill, it would be listening.
Really? Not speaking?
No, because good speaking begins with good listening. You cannot say what you have never heard.
That makes sense. Children listen for months before they start speaking.
Exactly. Your brain needs examples. The more correct English you hear, the more natural English you produce.
So, what should people listen to?
Content they can actually understand. Not movies that are too fast, not difficult podcasts. Choose slow English, simple conversations, stories, daily situations.
And listen more than once. Many learners think they should only hear something one time.
The second time is often where the real learning begins. You notice new words, better pronunciation, and expressions you missed before.
What about speaking? Many people are afraid to speak because they're worried about making mistakes.
Then make mistakes. Seriously. Every fluent English speaker has made thousands of them. Mistakes are not proof that you're failing, they're proof that you're practicing.
I love that. Waiting to become perfect usually means never starting.
Exactly. Speak to yourself, describe your day, record your voice, repeat after podcasts, or practice with a teacher who can guide you.
That is why many students improve much faster when they follow a structured speaking program. They receive feedback instead of guessing whether they're correct.
Exactly. Listening gives you input, speaking gives you confidence, and together they build real fluency.
So, if you want to speak English naturally, start by listening every single day. Because in the next part, we'll show you how to stay motivated and keep improving without giving up after a few weeks.
Let me ask you one last question. Why do so many people quit learning English?
I think they lose motivation.
Sometimes, but motivation is not usually the real problem. The real problem is expecting results too quickly. People study for 1 week, then ask, why am I still not fluent?
It's like going to the gym 3 times and expecting a completely different body.
Exactly. English works the same way. Small progress, repeated every day, creates big results.
So, we shouldn't chase motivation. We should build habits.
Yes, some days you'll feel excited, some days you won't. But successful learners study anyway, even if it's only 20 minutes.
Because consistency always beats intensity.
I couldn't agree more. Another mistake is trying 5 different methods every month. One app today, another course next week, a new YouTube channel after that.
Then starting over again and again.
Exactly. Choose one clear roadmap. Trust the process. Give it enough time. That is how real progress happens.
And having a teacher or a structured learning program can make staying consistent much easier. Someone is there to guide you, track your progress, and remind you to keep moving forward.
Exactly. Learning English should feel like climbing a staircase, one step every day, not trying to jump 10 steps at once.
So don't ask, how can I become fluent this month? Ask, what is one thing I can improve today?
Because those small daily improvements will completely change your English after a few months.
And speaking of a few months, in the next part, we'll build a simple 90-day English roadmap that you can start following immediately.
Now let's put everything together. Imagine you have the next 90 days. How should you use them?
Many people think they need a complicated plan.
Actually, the best plans are usually the simplest. Let's divide 90 days into 3 parts.
What's the first month?
The first 30 days are all about building the habit. Listen every day, learn useful vocabulary, read something short, speak for a few minutes. Don't worry about being perfect, just become consistent.
So success in the first month isn't fluency. It's building a routine.
Exactly. Now comes the second month. This is where your confidence starts to grow. Speak more, write short paragraphs,
Have simple conversations. Ask questions. Answer questions. Use English every day.
This is where many learners suddenly realize I can actually communicate.
Exactly. Not perfectly, but confidently. Now comes the final 30 days. Challenge yourself. Watch longer videos. Read longer articles. Speak without translating every sentence. Think in English whenever you can.
So every month has a different mission.
Yes, don't try to do everything on day one. Follow the roadmap, one step at a time.
And if you're preparing for IELTS, STEP, or planning to study in the UK, Canada, or the United States, having a structured program can help you reach those goals much faster.
Exactly. A roadmap saves time. It keeps you focused, and it helps you avoid the mistakes that slow down most learners.
So don't ask, how can I learn English in 90 days? Ask, how can I improve a little every single day for 90 days?
Because that's how fluency is built. And in our final part, we'll leave you with one idea that could completely change the way you learn English forever. So, we've reached the end of today's episode, but I hope this is only the beginning of your English journey.
Today, we didn't give you magic tricks. We give you something much more valuable, a roadmap. Because when you know where you're going, learning becomes easier and much less stressful.
Remember the most important lessons. Know your level, build all 4 skills, study a little every day, learn vocabulary in context, use grammar in real life, listen more, speak more, and stay consistent.
If you follow those simple ideas, your English will improve. Not overnight, but week after week, month after month.
And here's something I want you to remember. You don't become fluent by watching hundreds of random videos. You become fluent by following a clear system. That's why the fastest learners usually have one thing in common. They don't learn randomly. They follow a structured plan with clear goals and guidance.
If you've been studying English for months or even years, but still feel lost, maybe you don't need more motivation. Maybe you simply need a better roadmap.
That's exactly why we created the English Blueprint programs. Whether your goal is daily communication, working in Saudi Arabia or the Gulf, studying in the UK, Canada, Europe, or the United States, or preparing for exams like IELTS or STEP, our courses are designed to help you build your English step by step, with clear lessons, real practice, and a complete learning system.
If you'd like to learn with us or you have any questions about our English courses, you can always contact us on Instagram. We'd be happy to help you choose the right learning path.
And before you leave, I have one small challenge for you. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until Monday. Start today, even if it's just 15 minutes, because one small step today is better than a perfect plan that never begins.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who's learning English. And don't forget to follow English Blueprint for more English listening practice, conversations, podcasts, and learning tips.
We'll be back with another exciting episode very soon. Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself. See you in the next episode.